You're listening to Captain John Doe, real aviation stories told anonymously. Let's get into it.
What's up, Doe heads? Welcome back to another episode of Captain John Doe. I am your favorite host, Kevin, assisted by my beautiful wife over there, staring at me, trying to reel me back in.
I'm waiting for you to finish this stupid intro. Okay. God, I love how you've gone from like nothing to AM radio host.
Well, never mind. But
Wait, what were you going to say? I don't even know what you're insinuating.
No, we're not doing that yet. I
don't even know what you're alluding to.
Listen, there's a lot of times where I don't think about my air traffic days, but this time on the radio, I'm bringing it back. I like to be an auctioneer every now and again. I like to be a little energetic, a little bit, fun for the peeps up in the sky. And I'm just bringing that back down to the CDJ pod.
You're so dyslexic. You shouldn't tell the FAA about that. It's CJD. Ho, ho, ho.
Speaking of dyslexic, this is the last week before the best month of the year.
What does that have anything to do with dyslexia? Seriously, what?
I think that my other pilots out there know how dyslexic works.
I am so lost.
Fortunately for you, you can put A, B, C in order. Some of us put C, A, D.
You really should stop talking before the fa starts listening.
Anyways, back to what I was trying to say.
I don't know. Again, I'm so lost. Everything that's coming out of your mouth right now is not making sense.
You know how stand-up comedians go into like those local, comedy stores to practice their skits before they go out for their Netflix special?
This is not practice time. We're on air.
You're not letting me finish my thought.
Okay.
And they come up with these bits, and these bits might not hit. And clearly, it's not hitting right now.
That's what I'm saying. You're working out material, but we're at the Netflix special.
Is Netflix paying right now?
They could be watching.
Okay. Well, Netflix, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'll keep working on my material and come back with a better attitude.
If any of that was meant to be a bit, I truly don't know where that was supposed to be going.
Put me up on the mic. Hot mic me.
Hot mic me.
You're getting me all bamboozled right now.
Okay, well, we are about to head into July. So if you haven't made Oshkosh plans, what are you doing?
What are you doing? That made me think. Are we having an episode before July 4th come out? Yes, we will. Okay, so July is like arguably the greatest month for anybody, not even just for aviators.
Well, it's America's birthday. And Oshkosh bagosh.
And I was going to kind of say a lot of other things. Everybody we know is traveling right now, except for us.
No, we are grinding right now. I think I am really down in the dumps because all my coworkers, all my friends are taking summer vacations. And you want to know something interesting is like so many of our friends and family look at us. We're in our 30s. We don't have kids and we do a lot. Like we live life to the fullest. We work hard. We play hard. But usually our play is still work associated. Even Oshkosh, like when I go to Oshkosh, it is so much fun, but it's not a true vacation. I'm still in a logoed polo and I'm working and networking and trying to get deals done. So it's like, it looks like we do a lot and we do, like we're on the move, but it's usually work associated.
That is a good point because to be fair, everybody listening, we are very fortunate and we travel a lot. But I can't really think of travel that we've done that wasn't work related.
It's been a year since we went on a true vacation that had no work.
It has. We went to Hawaii last year.
Yes. So like we do a lot of like what I call workcations, where we make the most out of work trips, and maybe we stay an extra day somewhere to enjoy a nice dinner or something, but we don't get to do that a lot. But what's interesting is so many people are so, I don't want to say jealous that we don't have kids, because it's definitely not the right word, but they're like, wow, you're so lucky that you have all your time. But we fill our time. Anyone fills their time. But then now I'm looking at people who have kids and saying, wow, you're so lucky that this is going to be poor wording, but you're so lucky that you're forced to take downtime. If you have kids, you're forced to hang out with them and go do something on spring break and during summer. Like, they're home from school and they're looking at you with these puppy dog eyes. And no matter how much work you have, you're always going to be like, your wife, your husband, whoever is going to say like, hey, we've got to take these kids on a vacation. We got to go take 3 days with them. And you're forced to go get out of the office, but we don't have anything that forces us to do that.
Yeah.
So we work.
Yeah, no, I think people get what you're saying. You don't mean forced. Like we're not saying you're forced to go on a vacation. You get to go on a vacation, but that time frame is almost always dotted in on your schedule.
Well,
right? Like
I mean, forced might be the right word though. Like, I don't know how else to say it, because
you don't have any time during the school season, so you have to take a trip during spring break and summer.
But you have children in a family that are looking at you like, we're going to go on vacation, right? All of our friends are. And if you're fortunate enough to do that, you're going to be like, yeah, I mean, this is not a good time for me, but I'm going to make it happen. But people without kids like us, we're looking at ourselves right now saying, this is not a good time. We're not going on vacation.
This is a weird conversation we're having.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know it was going there.
So instead of us going on vacation this weekend, I am going to give Mindy her IPC.
No, you're not going to give it to me. I'm going to earn it.
Okay. I am going to put Mindy through the ringer and have her earn her IPC.
Make sure you hold your mic, because if you're pushing it against your shirt, they're going to hear the
Sorry. So we're going to take a G7 Plus SR20.
No, we're not.
No.
We're taking a G6, homie.
Oh, I'm taking a G6.
You have no idea what's going on.
Well, we just talked about before we started the podcast that I need to come up with a plan. So I'm going to probably work on that tomorrow.
Yeah, starting with the airplane we're flying, we're taking a G6 SR20.
That's a good point. Are we going to film?
It's a good point.
Are we going to film that or no?
I don't know. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 YouTube videos filmed that I haven't edited yet. Should we just bank a number 9?
Just bank it.
I don't know.
What do you think about doing a VOR with a procedure turn on Green Needles hand flown?
What do I think about it? That sounds terrible.
I'm thinking that might be something in your near future.
Wonderful. Well, I really wanted to do this IPC in a Cirrus because I have aspirations to fly Cirrus a lot more, as I mainly sell Cirrus and I don't have a lot of time in them. And not only do you need time in certain aircraft to get on insurance, that way I can help ferry them around for clients and stuff, but a lot of insurances now want you to have an IPC in that make and model. So it's going to be helpful, I think, for me over the next year if I get my IPC done in the Cirrus. That way I can check that box as I start to get more flight time in the Cirrus.
And nothing against Mojo, but it does have AC, which will be nice because, as we know, it's summer.
That's right. So, Kevin, Mr. Instructor.
Okay.
Walk me through a typical IPC. Well, first of all, for anyone listening who doesn't know what that is, how rude of us.
You're putting me on the spot.
An IPC is an instrument proficiency check.
Check.
And there's like some bullet points you have to hit, but basically when you want to go fly in instrument conditions, so via reference to your panel when it's cloudy out or whatever, you want to fly IFR, after a certain time period, you have to do an IPC if you haven't done X, Y, Z. And now I want my IPC done in the Cirrus for these insurance reasons, whatever. And I'm still current within my grace period, but I haven't been flying instrument a lot lately, to be fair.
No, I feel like we've done a few approaches.
We've done enough in Mojo lately for me to be current.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure, I know I'm current just on that regard, because most of the time I would keep my proficiency in the simulator, because in Vegas, as we know, it's really hard to find
real clouds.
So
walk through very briefly, you don't have to get too detailed, what does a typical IPC look like?
So with somebody I've flown with a lot, we'll just keep it simple. Like you, we're going to sit down and have a conversation for, we'll call it an hour, and kind of go through just the basics. So the basics, for those of you that are listening, know of the PAVE checklist. That's typically...
I'm laughing right now because I taught you how to do this, and now you're going to do it to me.
It's funny because it's true, because I remember when I first got hired as an instructor, I got, this IPC put on my schedule like week 1. I'm like, man, I've read about this in the book, but I've never done one. Like, for all you new instructors, like, it doesn't matter how much you read, you've never done one with a real customer, with a real student.
There's
so like
the advisory circular for guidance and all that. But then it's like when it becomes go time, like what do you do?
Because like you said, the advisory is what you should go off of, but how do you actually interact with that student? And the easiest thing to do... I
don't even know how I thought of this, but I did, and I taught you it, and it works.
The easiest thing to do is go into the PAVE checklist, and that covers everything. Literally everything.
Okay, so for people that don't know, the PAVE checklist is pilot, aircraft, environment, external pressures. And then on each of those topics, you can go into infinite rabbit holes. So that's where I used to start with students as I was teaching. I'd be like, pilot, okay, well, tell me more about that. How do you know that you can fly? And then we get into the I'm safe checklist. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you need to go fly? It's like, okay, well, I need this ID and my medical and blah, blah, blah. Okay, tell me about currency and proficiency. So you can get into all this rabbit holes. And then aircraft. Okay, what documents do we need? How do we know it's airworthy? Tell me about this airplane. What's special about this panel? Does it have autopilot? And then environment. Let's talk about weather and NOTAMs and all. It's you could go into 6 hours of a ground just by starting with the PAVE checklist.
So I'm going to give you guys a little hint of those that are just embarking on your pilot training. If you can rattle off the PAVE checklist, you will be able to pass every check ride.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Minus instructor stuff. And there's a couple extra things, but like,
that's a big statement.
Go through the ACS and go look at the PAVE checklist and see that all these questions are part of it.
Also, PAVE checklist is really not, I hate that you say that. It's just like the PAVE acronym or the PAVE, not matrix. It's not, is it checklist?
I don't know.
Checklist sounds weird.
Yeah, it's PAVE topics.
The PAVE model.
All right, reel it back in. So we'll do that, and then we will brief our flight plan that I'll probably make for you, because I kind of want to, I like to see both ways. It depends on the student. I would, if I was doing this at school, I would text them the night before and text them a flight plan, or have them come up with a flight plan. That way we can talk about it. I want to see where their brain goes. Why did you pick this? Why did you pick this airway, this altitude, yada, yada. And then we'll go fly it. And that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to do anything that's trickery unless you ask for it.
Trickery?
I'm not.
You witch.
This is not a check ride. This is a proficiency check on purpose. It's
training.
It's training. If you're struggling hand flying a localizer, we'll go do that. If you don't know how to use your autopilot, which is very common, we're going to do that.
Yeah. For anyone who's about to get an IPC or is going to in the next however long, I would highly suggest to be so open to your instructor about your vulnerability.
Not a check ride, remember that.
Right. I would use that time to say, hey, I'm really bad at this. This is what I want to improve on. Why go waste your time showing off all the great things you know perfectly to your instructor just for an ego check when you could use your money towards this instructor to say, hey, I'm going to be honest with you and transparent. I am terrible at this. I am not good at my autopilot. Use that time and be transparent with your instructor about what you need to work on.
Right. And then typically when I get in the plane and we start flying, I can get a pretty instant gauge on their proficiency. I've flown with you more than anyone else. I know your proficiency, so I'm probably going to be a little bit more ATC-esque in the cockpit than instructor-esque.
Yeah, I like that.
And that changes. It depends, because if what Mindy just said, it's hard for people to admit their deficiencies.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But your instructor knows, I promise you.
I'll be honest with you. My deficiency, my issue with this weekend's flight is I am very unfamiliar with flying. I don't have a lot of time and Cirrus in that panel.
Right.
And I know a Garmin so well, and I know the touchscreen controllers so well, but it might take me an extra second to find what I'm looking for just because I don't have muscle memory in the Cirrus.
Right.
That's where I'm going to lack, but I'm confident I know where everything is located once I get to the right buttons.
Yeah, and that's usually how these go. All the IPCs or BFRs or whatever I've done is 90% focused on, the avionics, because most people come to me, they know how to fly an airplane. They are a licensed pilot, but they need to learn the automation if they're going to use it, because that is so important that if you're going to use a button, you better know what it's doing.
That's right. Well, we get a lot of instructor and student stories, and maybe we'll have a story for you guys next episode. We'll see. Hopefully there's no stories and everything was hunky-dory, but we're pretty open with you guys and share all of our aviation adventures, and we want you to share yours too. So remember, submit your aviation story. It can be anything, and we need you guys to submit stories. If you're listening to this podcast, I know you got something up your sleeve. I'm asking you to go on our website, CaptainJohnDoe.com, and submit your story, because we are so freaking excited to read them every week. You guys have been absolutely crushing it. Please continue to submit stories.
I promise they're anonymous. I mean, you guys know there's 48 episodes out.
Yeah.
They are anonymous.
They are. If you go on the website, you don't even have to put your name, your email address, nothing. It's just a form that you submit, and we truly have no cookie crumble on it. So please submit your story. I think it's awesome because it's entertaining, but we're also learning in the process. So let us learn from your mistakes and your hilarious stories and your scary stories. Submit them on CaptainJohnDoe.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Follow us on social media. And most of all, leave us a review and a rating, would ya?
5 stars only, just like Captain Walter said. The podcast that keeps you guessing. Thanks to the best show host and always keeping me laughing on my commutes to work or rides to and from the airport. As a young airline pilot, 26, heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
And a mentor to a lot of future airline pilots, it's great to hear Kevin's story and his road or taxiway to the airlines. Keep them coming.
Thank you.
That was nice.
I am always so humbled at how much our listeners are supportive of our journeys, especially your journey, Kevin. I think that everyone has massive respect from and kind of unexpected to me. Like for me, when I saw other people change careers, I'm like, oh, good for them. But the aviation people truly get how difficult and how taxing it was for you to leave ATC, which is a very tough career to get into. And you were settled on cruise control, had it made for the rest of your career, gave that up to go chase your airline pilot dreams. And it's a long road, and we've been sharing a lot of details about it. I think it just makes my heart so happy that people are so supportive.
Yeah, I mean, it is really special. Like, obviously having the support of you is the,
me
100%, but like having the people write in, it's like, oh, wow. Because I don't get too wrapped up in the hoopla. I try to keep a level head and keep just putting one foot in front of the other. I know that sounds cliche, but this has been a journey. I mean, to go from a level 12 air traffic controller to a CFI.
We're gonna flex on them.
I'm just saying, like,
flex.
There was a lot of strains. Like we don't hide things from you, but like, let's be crystal clear. This past year was not easy.
No, we had a lot of really hard days and weeks and months, and a lot of tears and a lot of hard conversations and a lot of wishing that we were in the next chapter. And we are so blessed and privileged, and we even felt the difficulty.
Right. So thank you guys for your support.
Yeah.
And thank you for the reviews, because they do mean something, and I appreciate that. A 26-year-old airline pilot, good for you, man or girl.
Freaking awesome.
Crushing it. I'll be joining you hopefully I'm 34 now, right? Yes.
Well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think you're 34.
But anyways, like this pilot that left a review, if you leave a review, you get entered into our merch drawing, which today is a drawing.
Today is the freaking day. We are doing a monthly merch giveaway all year long in 2026. So every month we are picking people to win free Captain John Doe merch, which we do not sell. You cannot get it anywhere else in the whole wide world except via this giveaway.
Mindy and I, or one or the other, go to USPS and mail it.
Yeah,
ourselves.
no, I've got my whole little kit here. I've got shirts and bags and stickers and a card, and I wrap it up in a little box and I stamp it out and I march my little self over to USPS and I ship it to you, and it's a good time. So
let's see who wins this week.
You can enter for free. Go to Instagram. You'll find some posts on there for you to engage with, and that gets you entries. Or what we prefer, leave us a podcast review, and then all you need to do is email us. Go on CaptainJohnDoe.com to the submit a story form. I don't care. Reach us via pigeon. I don't really care. I monitor everything. So if you submit a review, just message me and say, hey, I did it. And then you're in the draw. It's just that easy.
In the drawing.
It's so easy. It is open. U.S. residents 18 and older. The full rules are linked on our Instagram bio and on our website, CaptainJohnDoe.com. And right now, I'm going to spin the wheel.
Wheel time.
It's on my computer, and it is spinning with so many names now, which is so awesome. And the winner is Doug. I'm not going to read his whole email.
Doug.
I only have his email because he was an email submission.
Dougie.
It's Doug at blank Phillips blank blank. I'll keep you semi-anonymous, but if you're listening, you won, and I am going to send you an email and get your deets and we're going to rip this out to you. Exciting stuff. Congrats. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Now for our latest segment.
I'm waiting.
Kyle's comments.
Kyle's comments.
Okay, you guys, me and Kevin were crying laughing after the last episode because I truly thought of Kyle's comments as I was driving home from work and we were going to record the podcast. And I was like, every time we record the podcast, we think of our friend Kyle because he always gives us comments, critiques. He's always pushing us to be better.
He's always saying that we need to be better at production quality and value.
So anyway, I was like, we should put this guy on blast because we love him. And so we did. And then I'll say, I don't know how much he's loving this segment, but we're not going to stop it.
At least not yet until we get t-shirts made.
Okay.
What did Kyle say?
Kyle didn't say a lot. I think he got a little camera shy, but we're going to encourage him. We need to know what you guys like this segment because I think that's what he's most apprehensive about. We did not tell him this was happening. He just listened to the last episode and he was like, what just happened?
Right.
Which is hilarious. Well, first he said, I don't know if I feel attacked or seen. You feel seen, Kyle. We see you. We see you and we're taking all your critiques. And he said, I'm going to put as much effort into my reviews as you guys put into the show. Which guess what, Kyle? We put a lot of effort into the show.
We do.
I do. The amount of effort it takes to get a show from our computers to our brains to our mouth holes to your speaker holes is a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot for you.
Yeah. So Kyle, first of all, his main critique lately says, stop keeping open secrets from your listeners. If one host wants to spill, let it spill.
I feel personally attacked.
You should. That was against you because you're holding on to a secret. Everyone knows the secret, but you're not letting me say it. Clearly, I am like, let's dive right into this and tell everybody. And you are not wanting to.
So, in solidarity with Kyle's comments, because he's been so annoying.
Shut up, Kyle.
Exactly. Shut up, Kyle. He's been so annoying about secrets. I'm not keeping a secret. It's no joke that I currently no longer work as an instructor.
And that's all you want to say right now. Okay, in your defense, you have some milestones that you would like to achieve personally and professionally.
Right.
Prior to sharing, which I get.
Right.
Which I get.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am in school right now. It's that simple for my new job. But because I'm in school, I just don't want to talk about it. I played baseball my whole life. I'm superstitious as crap. Okay, it is what it is.
Baseball players are so superstitious.
So, like, I'm not hiding this from anybody. I'm not hiding this from the Doe heads. I'm not hiding this from our friends and family. I'm just not really talking about it.
Kyle said something funny on the phone. What did he say?
I don't know.
Remember? And we both laughed and we're like, we need to say that on the podcast. When we were on the phone, he said something funny. I don't remember. Anyway, Kyle is going to continue making comments because it's funny and he is our biggest critic. And I think we should read our largest critiques on air because I think that's hilarious.
I agree.
It's so funny.
Kyle, I hope you're happy that I'm not keeping a secret anymore. I'm just choosing not to talk about it. And it's not anything personal to our listeners. I just don't. Until I am operating as a certificated
pilot.
Until then.
I think that's fair.
Right?
Fair.
Simple as enough.
Shut up, Kyle.
Shut up, Kyle. Anyways, thanks, Kyle, for your comments. We're going to get into listeners' stories, and they're probably better than Kyle's comments. All right, I'm going to start her off.
Wait, you always start. Are you really starting again?
You start then.
Wow, yours is long.
I know. That's why I want to start.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to start.
No, let me go.
Then you go.
Okay. To set the stage, it's just another day at our mid-size, wannabe large-scale FBO on the best coast. It's probably my favorite crew of guys working the line. We've all been working at airports for a reasonable amount of time and have each handled thousands of airplanes ranging from clapped-out 150s to F-35s to wide-body airliners.
What kind of FBO is this?
Needless to say, we've met a wide range of pilots and passengers, but more importantly, seen a wide range of odd behaviors and mistakes. But this takes the cake. The plane was a Gulfstream Galaxy. Gulfstream is in quotes. I marshal the plane and get it stopped and chalked just like every other airplane. The number 2 engine shuts off, and then I see the crew exit the cockpit with the number 1 still running. I called my coworker over the radio. We've got a fee dodger, thinking they were just going to drop a couple passengers and dip out. Feel free to leave this part out, but once a TBM tried that, and this coworker who happened to be driving by in the 100 low lead truck parked in front of the airplane and got out like he was about to put low lead into it. The pilot promptly shut it off and went inside to pay the fee. Normally, when someone tries to do a super quick turn, they shut off the number 1 engine, since that's the side that the passenger and the cargo door is usually on. The captain got out, made it all the way off the steps, and started walking to the cargo door when he stopped, looked around, and realized the engine was still on, and pointed to the FO who was in the galley talking to passengers and then to the engine. I had never seen someone look so confused in my life. The FO leaned into the cockpit, flipped a switch to shut off the engine. While the captain and I were getting the bags, the FO got out, followed by 4 70-plus-year-old ladies, and then the flight attendant, who wasn't wearing any shoes or socks. They went inside, paid, and requested a GPU for a GPU start. Adding to the list of strange things, the plane's APU was running. It left after a few more things that were probably SOP violations, but who am I to know? We anxiously tracked the airplane on its 50 nautical mile flight back to its home base, nervous that we might be seeing an NTSB report in the making. Occasionally, I still search the airplane on Flight Radar 24 to see how it's doing. This wouldn't be the last time I hear from this tail number, however. A couple weeks later, it shows up again with the same pilots and a different flight attendant. This time, this one was wearing shoes. So far, everything was pretty standard until the first of the passengers showed up. 5 25-year-old girls and 3 60-year-old guys in nice clothes. By the time everyone showed up, I counted 36 bags and 7 bags of self-supplied catering and 1 giant whiteboard. The captain and I somehow managed to get all the bags into the airplane, sparing some room for the seats. Each time I brought one of the catering bags to the airplane, the flight attendant looked more and more defeated. Eventually, everyone got on and they made the trip across the country to Long Island, New York. The whiteboard still sits in the FBO to this day.
Wow. Seems like you came across a little bit of a shady operation there at this Gulfstream Galaxy.
What in the world are these pilots doing?
I don't know.
And okay, so this line guy is totally correct. So if you're going to shut down one engine, you always shut down the engine that's on the passenger door side.
Why is that, Mindy?
Why do you think, Kevin?
I know, it was a joke.
I think I'm about to sneeze.
Anyways, this I don't even know if it's needed for us to dissect this complete lapse of judgment on this crew.
How many hours in are they on their shift to shut down one engine, and not the one that makes sense, but they clearly meant to shut down fully.
Both, yeah.
And then the APU's on.
The APU one.
And then they ask for a GPU. For anyone listening, you don't need a GPU, which is like a power cart, if you got an APU on. There's no reason.
I wonder what would happen.
I don't know.
You put the
pilots
external cart and the APU on.
But yet somehow my biggest concern is the flight attendant with no shoes. A barefoot flight attendant. That is my biggest concern here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nah, that's not mine.
No, it's my biggest concern.
The engine operating on the passenger.
No, I'm concerned. This is showing a lapse of judgment from all around the crew.
Yeah.
In what context would it be okay to not have socks or shoes on?
On a beach.
Maybe something like ruined her shoes. They spilled something.
Yeah, maybe. And then, I like his little, after monologue where a group of young girls show up with a group of older gentlemen. I feel like that's more typical. Yeah, it's probably a little bit more typical.
On a private jet? Shocking.
Wonder what the whiteboard was used for, though. Key Club?
I don't know.
It's a PG show.
What was that going to be for? I mean, it never made it in the airplane.
No, but 36 bags. We have stories of that, of some friends that have had passengers show up with too many bags to put on the airplane, and they had to charter a second plane to carry their bags.
And they do. They charter a second private jet.
We're talking about like Gulfstreams and Globals.
Just for their bags.
Just for their bags. That is a common theme.
That's crazy.
Whoever you are that submitted this, you probably have a Rolodex of stories.
We need more.
More, because FBO stories, I feel like you can keep those going forever. I mean, the things you guys probably see is amazing.
Back to the TBM, though. That line guy, loyal to his company.
Yeah, what kind of FBO is this, by the way?
Y'all are loyal. They parked the fuel truck in front of the TBM and didn't let him leave. Said, you better get your butt inside.
If we rolled up in Mojo, are you going to charge us? Sounds like it.
Duh. Who do you think you are?
Who do I? Didn't we have this talk last week where we show up to airports and I think that I'm somebody, but I'm not?
Yeah, and you don't want to claim your wife.
Yeah.
You just want to throw her to the wolves and say, have at it.
Shut up, cow.
Yes. See if you can get her number. Good luck. Oh.
All right, my turn. My turn. I'd like to tell you a story about my first flight as a private pilot that was supposed to be a memorable sightseeing trip with my mom. It ended up being my first emergency landing. I'm a later in life private pilot, minted last year on my 36th birthday. He said 36 and later in life. After about 60 hours of training. Right before my check ride, I joined a flying club at a super sleepy Delta airport that sits under a very busy Bravo shelf. My airport is mainly used by millionaires and private jets trying to get downtown for meetings and sports events, and for storage of antique aircraft and warbirds. My club has 3 planes, including an Archer, which was the same type I trained in. Freshly minted and eager to share the wonderful world of general aviation with friends and family, I convinced my mom to be my first passenger on a beautiful October evening in the Archer. The weather was perfect for early fall. It was about 65 degrees and light winds. There was showery precip that was hanging around in the morning, but it moved out in the afternoon. We'd planned a short 30 to 40-minute flight, heading downtown for sightseeing and then right back to her home airport. The flight with my mom was perfect. No turbulence, light traffic, great views of downtown. It was an awesome experience. I dropped her off at her home strip, which was only about 15 miles away, and I took off from my home airport. After climbing out, leveling off, cleaning up the plane, and grabbing the ATIS, it was immediately time to descend, so I pulled power back. Nothing changed. The engine was still making 2,300 RPM. I didn't feel the plane decelerate or hear the noise reduction that you'd be used to feeling and hearing when you close the throttle. Puzzled, I actuated the throttle lever back and forth. Nothing was changing. I remember my first thought was, there's absolutely no way in hell this is happening right now. Followed shortly after by the realization this was a serious situation. I initiated 2 60-degree turns to buy time and figure out how to slow the engine down. I dropped the mag and turned carb heat on, getting only about 100 RPM reduction. I knew from aviation safety YouTube videos that I've been watching for years exactly what to do. Set up a fast, long final approach and pull the mixture to cut off when I had the runway made. In fact, I remember Hoover, pilot Hoover he's talking about, doing a debrief on this scenario. I got this, I remember thinking. On my second 360, I sent a text to my partner. Hey, everything's going to be okay, but I'm going to have to make an emergency landing. I love you. And I leveled the wings and flew towards the airport. The low autumn sun was setting quickly, and because my home airport is a densely populated city only a few miles away from downtown, I temporarily lost sight of the field due to the light pollution. I contacted Tower on the wrong frequency at first, then switched and contacted Tower to let them know my situation and intentions. They asked if I wanted to declare an emergency, and I said yes. When I still couldn't spot the field, as I'd been expecting to enter a downwind, I requested to break off my entry, do another 360 to compose myself, and try again. During my final 360, I spotted a main state road that I knew would set me up on a nice base lake to the runway. I also noticed all intersections were blocked off on the road, and there were about 30 emergency vehicles racing towards the airport. I wonder what all that commotion is about. I thought for a split second. Then it dawned on me that it was for me. It was an emotional sight, but I focused on following the road they were on to the airport. The tower asked if I wanted the lights turned up, which I confirmed. Did I miss that this was at night? Oh, boy.
Yeah, he said the sun was setting.
Finally, the runway was in sight. I was fast on base leg, just inside the white arc, so I added a notch of flaps and turned to final. With the runway assured, I pulled the mixture to cut off. I crossed the threshold, still around 100 knots. I was thinking, man, this thing really isn't slowing down much. I expected the plane to act like I had just closed the throttle, but I still didn't feel much deceleration. I remember the tower saying, he looks fast, and thinking, no shit, I look fast. I floated in ground effect and floated for what felt like forever. I was adding flaps like I was flying the traffic pattern. Flaps 2 at 80, flap full at 70. As I was ground effect and finally slowing down, my instructor's voice was in my head. Hold it off. Hold it off. And I eventually greased it about 3/4 of the way down the runway. Slammed on the brakes as much as I could without skidding and stopped just before the numbers on the departure end. I did it, I remember yelling. Airport maintenance worked quickly to get me towed off the runway as a jet was right behind me and was very close to declaring a minimum fuel emergency. Shortly after the tow, the club mechanic rolled up to the hangar, popped the cowl off, and found the cause. A screw came loose, and the throttle cable was no longer secured to the airframe. It could pull the butterfly valve open but not push it shut. A new screw and a nylon lock nut fixed the issue. The grizzled old pilot turned airport maintenance worker that towed the plane back to the hangar critiqued my handling of the situation and my landing, telling me I should have kept rolling off the runway and onto one of the high-speed exits to the taxiway. He also mentioned that shouldn't have declared an emergency because now I would have to deal with the consequences of declaring. I assume he was referring to the paperwork and statement I would have to complete. In retrospect, his comments bothered me, especially considering I didn't bend any metal and no one got hurt. From an ADM standpoint, flying with the passenger and soloing at a new airfield near nighttime probably wasn't the smartest move, but I'm proud I handled the emergency well, and I'm fortunate my story ended the way it did. I'm also fortunate that I didn't go off the end of the runway or get injured because the emergency vehicles were stuck at the locked gate of the airport. No one could seem to get the gate unlocked to let them in. The airport was appreciative that they could use this event as a drill and to work the kinks out of their emergency ops. Again, I feel very fortunate that my interest in aviation safety had prepared me for an emergency that we never learned about in pilot training, and that I was able to maintain my composure in such a high-stress situation. I was ready to get right back in the air as soon as the weather permitted, and have been having fun flying safely this year.
Wow.
That's an awesome story.
Fantastic story. And it took every might of my being to not explode when you were reading this paragraph about that pilot that towed him off and said those comments. I want to go and punch him in the face. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't condone violence.
So we're driving
but
into
I'm feeling violent.
I was going to talk about the good bit at first, but you're right.
No.
So rule number 1.
This ticks me off.
Rule number 1.
I'm pissed.
Think about this logically. Where is the best place to stop your aircraft?
On the runway.
On the runway. No exceptions. Stop the airplane on the runway. Why? Think about why. You have everybody in the world looking at you on the runway. They know that you're there. They're going to keep that clear. Anything else is not clear. You're going to have vehicles coming out everywhere. You're going to have airplanes coming out.
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just on his page of him saying hey, I'm a brand new private pilot. I just soloed on my license for the first time and I had this emergency and I didn't bend any metal. I got down safely. Nothing broke. I'm okay. And you're going to critique me
I want to know where this whole paperwork thing came from.
Well, yes. Okay.
I don't understand this.
Let me read that again. He also mentioned that I shouldn't have declared an emergency because now I have to deal with the consequences of declaring. That's an insane statement to make. Please, 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 please. If this man ever gives you advice, you tell him to please just shove it and walk away. Always declare an emergency if you need to. There's no consequences of declaring an emergency.
Not even paperwork. I don't understand.
What paperwork? And also, who cares? If there was a mountain of paperwork, who cares? Who cares? It's fine.
Declaring emergency is not the paperwork.
But there's no paperwork.
If you were to crash and not declare an emergency, guess what? You're going to have a lot of freaking paperwork. But I don't get this. I see this online and a lot of people chime in and say,
what
always declare.
What consequences do they think? They think that they're going to, I don't know why people think that if you declare an emergency, you're going to have to take another check ride to get your license again. And you're going to have to explain to them why you said the E word. And you're going to have to sit in front of a judge and a jury. And I'm like, what are you guys saying?
Do you know how many times people didn't declare an emergency on frequency with me, and I still declared an emergency for them?
From an ATC standpoint, when someone declares an emergency, what does that initiate from the controller side? Just help and assistance, right?
Help and assistance from everybody.
Are you saying hey, Mr. Supervisor, we got another E word. Print out that 100-pager. Let's send it to him in the mail.
I say this to be funny and not a bad way, but when I say we have an emergency, people get excited. Not in an excited they're
jumping into action.
Right. The training that we do every freaking month is it's ready. The supervisor becomes useful for one time in their life. The guy next to you,
Kevin.
the guy next to you is doing everything. The controller would rather you say that all day.
And then you brought up another point. Controllers can declare an emergency on your behalf.
And they don't have to tell you, by the way, that I didn't ever say it. If I ever declared an emergency on your behalf, it was because I had the sense that you were dealing with something and you didn't know
that you needed priority.
Because that's all it is. It's.
Do you think that controller that one time declared an emergency for me?
Yeah.
I didn't have any paperwork.
Right.
Just saying.
I mean, I've I've probably declared an emergency for like 10 planes at the minimum, and normally I don't even let them know, because so here's the thing, if you start getting priority handling from air traffic, you're an emergency, period.
Right.
That's simple. I will go to war on that comment. If you're getting priority handling, you're an emergency. It doesn't matter what the emergency is.
Right.
You're an emergency. And that means nothing on a paperwork side, on a consequences side. A controller, I could tell you this firsthand, I never did anything. I just went on break.
I really hate this guy that said these things to you. And
I
also
love you.
critiquing like, oh, you should have rolled off the runway, got off the runway, blah, 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 blah. You landed safely. Like, pat yourself on the back. And no. This guy sucks. I can't. Sorry. Now let's get to all the great things that you did. Because I just can't hold in how upset I am at that guy. I would have gave him a piece of me.
So as I was reading this, I have practiced this, and I've made my students practice this, because it is easily the hardest maneuver in the sim, by the way. It's easily the hardest maneuver to
But it doesn't
manage.
slow down as quick as you think it does.
And you don't have a slow down button until you turn it off, really.
And then you're committed.
Because it seems like you're flying an arrow that's going slow enough that you could get your first notch of flaps in. A lot of airplanes are not like that. So,
right.
I mean, your thinking and your processing skills are unbelievable. You doing these 360s is literally needs to be placarded, saying you didn't force anything, because is your engine operating? Yes. Am I falling out of the sky? No.
You gave yourself time. I love that. Another great comment in here says, I knew from aviation safety YouTube channels that I've been watching for years exactly what to do. You know what? People shit a lot on social media, and I just want to say that people also learn a lot. If YouTube channels and social media and stuff did not exist, would this pilot have known what to do immediately? Maybe they could have figured it out, but they knew immediately because of social media. Social media gets a lot of hate, but I'm just saying there's some good things. Even with this podcast. Like, this podcast is a learning podcast. Now, everyone who listened to this story, if this ever happens to them, guess what? They're going to know exactly what to do. Information sharing is caring.
Right. So I'm going to do a little learning thing right here, because, this is important. Things that I would try to teach my students. Like, we've all done the power off 180s, right? Where you're beam your landing zone, and you pull the power to idle, and you come into land. Cool. How many times are you straight and level 1,000 feet above the ground and that happens? Never. So the exercise that you can do at home is find yourself somewhere and put yourself in a position, maybe with no power and spiraling down, or with power, and get yourself to that position and land the airplane dead stick, pretty much. Because what we practice so much is traffic pattern power off 180. That's not the most likely scenario. It's you're coming down from your cruise altitude and something happens with your throttle. So work on finding that point, figuring out how you're going to get to a beam point, and then going idle and seeing what happens.
I have one last comment.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
I don't know.
The text message.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. The text, okay, they said, on my second 360, I sent a text to my partner. Hey, everything's going to be okay, but I'm going to have to make an emergency landing. I love you.
I'm not going to.
That gives me chills.
Because it's a tough place to be. I mean, come on. You listen, let's be clear. I hope you're listening to this episode. Let's be clear. What you did there is, probably not that great of an outcome more than half the time. You did great. Like that is
I know, it just gives me chills, that text message, because I am both a pilot, so I can imagine myself sending one like that. But I'm also a pilot's wife, and I can also imagine receiving a text like that. And I think my emotions on whether I'm the texter or receiver on this are a bit different. And that's a really tough text to receive.
Yeah. Well,
but if it's if that's your I don't know if that's your last chance to say that text, are you gonna say it?
Yeah.
And is that person gonna be happy that they have that last text?
I mean, you're diving in the weeds now. I get what you're saying.
I don't know. That makes me emotional, because if I were to ever get that text from you, I would freak out.
Right.
Freak out.
I mean, you sent me a text before. I remember. It wasn't like that, but there was something.
You know, it wasn't a text. I called your center. You working Atlanta
I know
Center.
that. I didn't want. I'm talking about you sent me a text, but you want to talk about that?
I don't know. Do I?
That's up to you.
I feel like we've shared it before. Maybe,
right.
Maybe not. But well, let's not share the whole story right now, because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But I had an incident. I had an engine incident, and I had to turn around. This is what we were referring to earlier, where I'm pretty sure ATC declared an emergency on me because I refused to, because I was one of those pilots who thought that there was consequences for declaring emergency, and guess what? There's not. And to my defense, I just felt like I needed to eliminate something, and ATC was the easiest thing to eliminate. Yeah. That sounds terrible. Do not do what I did. Anyway. And I landed, and the reason why I felt that I needed to talk to you immediately was because I was on frequency in Atlanta, where we were very well known, and you were a controller, and I was on with Atlanta controllers, and they knew I had an emergency situation happening and that I was having engine troubles, and I was turning back to the field. And the whole time I was coming back, my biggest fear was that you were going to find out I was having engine troubles before I made it to the ground. And I was very concerned on your well-being of figuring that out, that information out, before I had a chance to land safely and tell you myself.
So how did you tell me?
So I called Atlanta Center. Mm-hmm. And I said, I need to talk to Kevin. And they got you on the line. And you knew that anytime a spouse called Atlanta Center for the controllers, it was an emergency.
So let's be clear. I was on position. She called the actual phone that goes to the area, and everybody's spouse knows that you don't ever call that number unless you need to.
Were you upset that I called that number?
No, because I knew there was a reason.
Do you think that was warranted?
Yeah, because
I knew you were going to get a phone call from the other sector, from Tracon, saying, hey, pretty sure that was your wife that was like just had an emergency.
Yeah, so I was on position, and the soup said your wife's on the phone, and I obviously immediately got relieved, and someone plugged in immediately, and one of my buddies plugged in immediately, because we all know, like, if that happens, I mean, that never happens, something's wrong, and we don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean...
That felt, again, obviously I was fine and I was safe. I had landed on the ground, but I was so concerned that you were going to get a call from the other controllers saying, hey, like, your wife was just on frequency having engine troubles. And I didn't want you to be freaking out, be like, what the F is going on? So I was like, I need to tell him right away, like, what happened. And then I'm on the ground safe.
Yeah, no, I think it was warranted. And then we had a nice chat over dinner about what we've been talking about. Declare the emergency.
Yeah, I should have.
But you were a new pilot, and people say this stuff, and people listen. Like, that's the other thing. Like, if you're...
I also, didn't understand when you're supposed to declare an emergency, because I thought, I didn't know that I was in a position where I should have. Meaning, I didn't think that it was serious enough for me to take resources towards me. I felt like it was selfish to declare an emergency. And now looking back, I know that was wrong, and I definitely should have. but like, I don't know. I was still making power. I didn't know if I was going to lose my engine or not lose my engine. I had lost a cylinder. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, is it just one cylinder and I'm going to get back on one cylinder, which is what happened, or without with one cylinder, or is the whole engine about to stop going? I don't know. And I just felt like it felt premature at the time to declare an emergency, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like rile everyone up over nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've obviously had this talk, but like for you guys listening, anytime you say something abnormal to ATC, it doesn't matter what else comes out of your mouth. That controller is now going to treat you as an emergency.
So basically, just to end the story, I told them I was having engine trouble. I had partial power loss. I need to turn back to the field immediately. The controller gave me a heading and not back direct to the field. I was like, screw you, cancel. I canceled. I was like, I'm going back direct to the field. What are you talking about? So I canceled, and then the controller was very concerned. Obviously. And he's like, you need to call us when you get on the ground safely. I was like, okay, Dad. Okay.
Anyways.
And I did. And they were like, thank you so much for calling and letting us know. I was like, you're welcome. But don't give me a heading when I told you I had an engine trouble. For reference, direct to the field would be nice.
For reference, you were over the top of Hartsfield. That was fun. I remember telling you, I was like,
plenty of places to land.
I was like, they would have cleared you to land on any surface.
I didn't want to do that.
Questioned it. I remember telling you, you should have landed at Hartsfield. Like, that's what you should have done.
No.
That's what you should have done. And not one person would have questioned it at Atlanta approach. Not one. They would.
Yeah, but after I land, everyone would be like, seriously, you landed at Hartsfield just because you lost a cylinder? And I'm just not ready for that.
Yeah, well, whatever. All right. Great episode. Let's get out.
See you, doughheads.
Bye. Thanks for flying with Captain John Doe. If you have a story to share, visit CaptainJohnDoe.com and stay anonymous. New episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and tell your favorite crew members.